Hello everyone, my name is Tanu Thakur. Today I am going to present my phase 3 project, and in this project I will explain the structure, design and functionality of my project using HTML, CSS and JavaScript. Let's start with the HTML part where I created the basic structure of the web page. As you can see on the left side, I have written the HTML, CSS, and JavaScript code of my project. On the right side, the browser is displaying the output of that code in the form of a working quiz app application. I have created a quiz generator using HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. So I will start from the HTML part. So here you can see my code, and the first line of code is stock type HTML. This tells the browser that this file is an HTML5 document. Like for example, it is like writing on the top of an exam paper. This is an English paper, so the teachers means browser knows what type of paper it is checking. The second line, HTML lang is equal to English. It means the language of the page is English. The third line is head section. From here the head section is start. This section contains important information about the web page, but it is not visible on the screen. Like head section is like a brain, it controls things, but you cannot see it from outside. The fourth line is meta charset UTF-8. This tells the browser how to read characters, letters, and symbols. The fifth line is title quiz app. This sets the name of the web page. It appears on the browser tab. Like from here you can see I give the name of quiz app, and here you can see right side the title name quiz app. For example, like it is writing a name on a notebook cover, quiz app. So when you multiple tabs are open, you know which one is your. The fourth one is link rel, uh, style sheet href style.css. This connects your HTML file with an external CSS file. Rel style sheet tells that this file is for styling, and href is equal to style.css. It tells where the CSS file is, and the here's the head section will close. This close the head sections, and here we start the body part. This contain everything that is visible on the screen. Like if head is a brain, then body is the visible body people can see. The next line is div class container. Div is like a container box used to group element. Class container is used to style this box in CSS. The next section is h1 tag. This is the main heading. This is the biggest heading. Uh, and the next is p tag. P means paragraph. It shows normal text. And the next is button on click start quiz button close. This creates a button, and on click means when someone clicks the button. Start quiz is a JavaScript function that will learn. For example, it is like pressing a lift button, and when you press it the lift moves. Here you can click and the function runs. The next tag is script tag close. This is where JavaScript code is written. And the next line is function start quiz. This creates a function named start quiz function. A function is a set of instructions to give the JavaScript. The next line is window location href quiz html. This tells the browser to open another page called quiz html. It is like clicking next page in a book. You move from one page to another page. Now I am moving to CSS. I used it to design and style the web page. So here you can left side you can see my code. So firstly I use the margin 0. The margin property removes the default outer space of the body element. The next is font family Arial. The font family property sets the typeface for the text content of the web page. The next is background property, the linear gradient. Functions create a smooth transitions between two colors in a specified directions. The next is height. The height gives the height to the content, and the VH unit stands for viewport height, and I give 100 VH height means 100% of the visible screen height. The next is display flex. The flex value enables flexbox layout, which allows flexible alignment and distribution of elements. The next is justify content center. This property aligns items horizontally at the center of the flex container. The next is align item centers. This properties aligns item vertically at the center of the flex container. The next, the container section. In this, I give the background property. It sets the background color of the container to white. The next is padding. The padding property add space inside the element between content and border. The next is width. The width property defines the horizontal space or horizontal size of the element. The next is text align center. Align the text content horizontally in the center. The next is border radius. The border radius property creates rounded corner for an element. The next is box shadow. It adds a shadow effects around the element. And this is my button section. And in button section, I give firstly the width 100%. It makes the button 100% width of its parent container. The next is padding. Padding adds inner space inside the button. And the next is margin. It adds vertically spacing top and bottom of 8 pixels. The font size sets the size of the text inside the button, and border none removes the default border of the button. Border radius makes button corners slightly rounded, and cursors I give the pointer property. It change the mouse cursor to a pointer when hovered. And the next is background. Set the background color of the button, and the next is color, set the text of the color. The next section is button hover effect. So button hover, the hover pseudo classes apply style when the user places the mouse over an element, like here you can see the effect when. And the next is correct class, and here I give the correct a class selector that applies styles to element with the name of correct, and the wrong and the important forces the CSS rules to override over conflict style. Disabled button. The next section is disabled button. And button disabled, the disabled pseudo class targets disabled button element, and I give here opacity, and it controls the transparency level of an element. So I created this JavaScript file to add functionality and interactivity to my quiz application. HTML is used to structure the content, CSS is used for styling, and JavaScript is responsible for handling the quiz logic, such as displaying questions, checking answers, and updating the store, and redirecting to the result page. Without JavaScript, the quiz would not be static and would not respond to user interactions. So let's start. So my first code is const questions. The const keyword declares a constant variable named questions that stores an array of object, and each object represent a quiz questions containing the question text, answer options, and the correct answers. So the first is questions. It stores the questions text as a string. The next is option, an array containing the multiple answer choices. And the last is answer, stores the correct answer for that a question. For that the question in right side you can see the question which css properties change the text color. This is my question, and here you can see my options, and uh, this is my correct answer. If the answer is correct, then green. If the answer is wrong, then it adds red color. And the next I am using again questions. I give the questions many options and the correct answers, and I give 10 questions. And the next is my question is equal to 0. So here I can declare my variable let current question is equal to 0. Like for example, declares a variable to keep track of the current question index. It starts from 0, meaning the first question. And the next is let score is equal to 0. It declares a variable to store the user scores. It increases when the user select the correct answers. The next line is function load question. So it defines a function that loads and displays the current question and its options on the web page. The next is const queue questions and current questions. It retrieves the current question object from the questions array using the current index. The next is document.get element by id questions and inner text is equal to q dot questions. It selects the HTML element with the ID questions and update its text content with the current questions. The next is const options div is equal to document.get element by id options. It selects the container where answer option will be displayed. The next line is options div dot inner html is equal to space. It clears previous options before loading new ones. The next is q dot option for each. It loops through each options in the option array. The next is document dot create elements button. It creates a new button elements dynamically. And the button dot inner text option, it sets the button text equal to the current options. And button dot on click check answer, it assigns a click event handler to the button that calls the check answer functions when clicked. And the next is option div appends child, like it adds the button element inside the option container. The next, here we start the function check answers selected. Function check answer selected define a function that checks whether the selected option is correct, like here. And the next is const correct answers is equal to questions current questions dot answer. It retrieves the correct answer of the current questions. The next is document dot query selectors to all options. It selects all options button inside a option container. And the next is button dot disabled. It disable all button to prevent multiple clicks. And the next is button class dot add correct. It adds the css class correct to highlight the colors. The next is button class add wrong, and it adds the css class wrong to highlight an incorrect selected answer. The next is if select is equal to triple equal to correct answer, it means it check if the selected answer matches the correct answer and increments the score. The next is set time out. It delays the execution of the next actions by 1 second. And the next is current questions plus plus. It moves to the next question by increasing the index. The next line is if current questions is less than questions dot length, it means it's check whether more questions are available or not. The next is local storage set item, and it stores the user score in the browser local storage. And the next is local storage dot set items total questions dot length. It stores the total number of questions. And the next is window dot location dot href is equal to result.html. It redirects the user to the result page after completing the quiz. And the final line is load questions. It calls the load question function to display the first question when the page load.